and welcome to the Marvel Rivals Review, a podcast for 4 men in their 30s talk everything Marvel Rivals, from the news to the balance and all the inevitable drama that comes with being an online community. Today we're joined by an incredibly special guest, the King of Estonia, one of the greats of BM, Twobold himself. How are you doing today, Twobold?
Hey, what's happening, guys? Nice to be here with you guys. I love the King of Estonia shout out. Really representing the country I found out by accident.
King of Estonia, King of the Rats.
Yeah, man, I found that out when I was playing some game where my chat wanted to know how good I was with geography, and I told them I was a genius at geography, and I think I scored like a 10%. I think I recognized 4 countries on a blank map, and one of them that popped up was like Estonia. I was like, Estonia's not even a country. I've never even heard of this place.
Oh, no.
And for like the next week and a half, all I did was just look at stuff about Estonia, and then I declared myself their king. Because, I mean, who's there to stop me? This country.
Well, what are they going to say? They're not going to say anything.
That's what I like. Just plant your flag. Take it.
There you go.
I mean, no one's stopped me yet. I went on YouTube. I typed up King of Estonia, and my video about it is higher than the actual information about the real King of Estonia. I think I've earned it. If nothing else.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So nice to meet you guys. I did some looking at your other podcasts before I joined, just to see what kind of chill group you guys were, and you passed the vibe check with flying colors.
Oh,
how you guys been enjoying Marvel?
Marvel, oh my god. Well, it has its ups and downs for sure. I'm definitely having a lot of fun. What about you guys?
I mean, I'm a married man with a child who works a normal job, so I don't have enough time to play. But from what I play so far, it's great.
Hey, fair enough. How old's your kid?
He's 4. He turns 5 in June.
Aw, adorable. My nephew just turned. He's gonna be 2 this year, I think. So I got to meet him. He's on the other side of the country, so it's very fun when I get to meet him, and he's learning words and stuff, and I can't imagine him getting older than he is now, which is insane. So I imagine as a parent, when you're seeing your kid start going like and learning all their words and stuff, and like going through all the milestones, you're like, man, I can't wait until he comes across video games. God, I hope he likes the same things as me.
So he already really loves video games. He plays Astrobots. He has beaten that game 6 times, like 100%ed that game 6 times already. He starts new. He starts new.
5?
He starts new files all the time and beats them and then resets them, and he's obsessed with Astrobots.
Yeah, the next generation is terrifying.
Right, like they just were born with the sticks in their hands. Like what the?
Well, I mean, when Dad is there showing you the ropes, right?
True.
Unless he's schooling you in Astrobot, in which case.
No, I'm definitely the better platformer. I've got 20 years of experience of playing Mario 64.
Big flex on your child.
Tell yourself that 10 years from now when he's going pro.
I've been whooping my kid's ass. Let me tell you.
you gotta instill that fear of God early in them. They can't think they can beat you in video games.
Yeah, but their friends are gonna be like, "How are you so good?" It's like, "You should see my dad. He's like God at Mario. What's Mario?" And then you start crying. It's a whole thing. You gotta be careful what you start with, man. Gotta get him to shooters early. That's the real key.
I tried to get him to play Ratchet and Clank, and he's not very good at using the right joystick to move the camera around yet. So he's still working on that.
That was one of my favorite games ever, man. I love Ratchet and Clank.
That's my favorite gaming series of all time, behind like Kingdom Hearts.
Really good.
I tried my best at Kingdom Hearts. Sephiroth beat me so bad when I was a kid, I stopped playing that game entirely.
Yeah.
I didn't understand. He just dropped a meteor on me. I'm like, how do I beat? I can't dodge that. It's a meteor.
Or lore accurate, by the way.
All right. So what topics you guys got on your hands for Marvel Rivals today?
For today, for today, for our audience out there that maybe not have heard of you, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, sure.
A little bit about yourself.
Hey everyone, my name's Twobold. I've been a content creator for roughly 4 or 5 years now. I used to be a big Overwatch player, and then as time went on, I decided to find more games to try out as I kind of got stale, and I made my way into Marvel Rivals. I've always loved being a really BM-y kind of person. I always find the most creative ways to go out of my ways to mess with my opponents as much as I can. I created a class of Zenyatta called Flankyata where all I do is spawn camp one healer and basically make it's a 5v5 the entire game for my team. No one likes it because I don't do it very well anymore. And back in the day, they still don't like it because we usually lost. But that one healer, I've always hated that guy. I tried to incorporate that into Marvel Rivals. And Marvel Rivals is a little... Well, no, it's not a little different. It's the exact same type of thing in the sense that I'll play Spider-Man now and go spawn camp a healer. And now it's a little more effective because there's so much more mobility. I can actually get to the front line again. But yeah, I just try and come up with creative ways to make people like hate me on the other team and my team as well. So that's pretty much my background, I guess.
I feel like that's like the best strategy, honestly, for like Plat Diamond, because like if you can just make one person like rage quit or tilt so hard that they just throw the game, like you just win. Like you just
that is the only reason I started playing Spider-Man.
Yeah,
was to do that exact thing.
It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. I'm a big fan of Spike. I think he's got a lot of potential for just BMing the absolute crap out of people. So.
Absolutely. You know, I've never had such like a serotonin rush as when I get told to touch grass in video games. That just
it's pretty good. I get told I need to go play ranked or something. That's a big one. It's like, dude, I can't do this in ranked. You kidding me? Those guys are good, and that tells them way more.
I'm definitely getting flamed by the enemy team for not having a life in like quick play when they like you're just like demolishing them is one of my like many joys. But, like,
it's like getting called a hacker.
Yeah, my favorite clapback. It's so funny too. People get so mad. They're like, oh man, imagine sweating this hard in quick play. And then I got so frustrated with like the third game in a row. Someone said that to me. I just typed back in chat. I said, yeah, imagine trying to win a game. Like what do you want from me?
The concept eludes them, dude.
Right.
But the thing is, if you try and go like too much into the casual part of the game where you're not trying at all, then your teammates get mad at you, and the other team types GG easy. So there's no winning. So I think I'd rather just make them mad.
It's just gonna always be the way. Are you I'm sorry, I got distracted. Are you flying as Zenyatta right now?
Yeah, they added perks to this game, and one of the ones you can get for Zenyatta is you can float now when you double jump. So that's pretty cool.
That's insane. Oh my god,
that's what that man needed.
Apologies to your viewers that think Overwatch is a joke, by the way, and I'm not playing Marvel Rivals right now. I thought this was happening at 4 p.m. PST, and I was like, guys, you have no idea. I was telling my chat, I was like, guys, I'm gonna be on a Marvel Rivals podcast. Let's start the day with some Overwatch. And then you come into my chat, and I was just like, oh, EST. Oh my god, I forgot it existed.
Time zones, by the way.
I literally said that. I was like, where does he live? California.
I feel like at this point, for me personally, most of like the Rivals versus Overwatch stuff is like just a meme, and like everyone just sort of leans into it. But I feel like most of the people that were hardcore Overwatch fans are also like somewhat interested in Rivals and vice versa. Like,
oh yeah, of course. I mean, I think the same Discord happens when Overwatch first came out, and they had like compared it to TF2 all the time. Now it's just Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. So it's just a cycle that goes over and over with different names. That's really all it is.
We've played these games before.
Exactly. That guy had no idea that he'd be starting a revolution with that term.
Right.
As soon as they wrote the words for it.
So while we're kind of already on that topic of like Marvel Rivals and Overwatch, in your opinion, what do you think each game does better or worse than the other in your opinion?
I think Overwatch has always had a really strong character design. Like when I look at the characters in Overwatch, it's a lot easier for me to tell what I'm fighting. Like I always know if I'm fighting an Ashe versus fighting a Sojourn versus fighting a Widow, right? In Marvel Rivals, I can't tell you how many times my comm has been, get the woman in white with blonde hair, because I have no idea which one I'm fighting. Until whether they go invisible or whether they go invincible, and I just don't know what's going on there. There's a lot of that happens that really kind of annoys me, but I understand it. I get why it goes on. I think a lot of the characters in this game have more identity than in Rivals.
True.
But I think Rivals leans into a fun aspect. Like you can do more in Rivals, I think, than you can in Overwatch.
Right.
Okay. So that's pretty much like my only real thing there between the two is that Overwatch established itself better. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I feel that. I personally think that like Overwatch is definitely the more sweaty of the games by far. the having to land shots, and I feel like the neutral game in between ults is much more prevalent in Overwatch. I just feel like in Marvel Rivals, as much as I love it, because you're supposed to feel like a superhero, is just everybody has ults all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for me, that's why me no aim good, so me like use brain. So I definitely think that like I feel more capable of being good at Rivals than I did about Overwatch because I just didn't have a lot of good FPS mechanics really. So so to me, I think that's an advantage. But I think that's kind of why it's neat that they both exist, right? Is because like people who lean more into one than the other will like maybe one slightly better than the other, but they're two sort of different flavors of the same thing. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think when it comes to ult usage in both, they're very pivotal. But in Rivals, it feels like if you don't have the correct support ults, it's almost impossible to win the game.
Yep.
Versus Overwatch, where it's just like you could probably make just about anything work, so long as you have like Ana doing like her nano, because you can begin the fight, and then they have to use a defensive ult to stop it. But then it's just kind of neutral from there. In Rivals, there's an invisible woman field that goes down, no one can die. There's a Mantis thing that goes down, she might be able to die. There's a Luna thing that goes down, she definitely won't die. There's just a million things that go on, and there's a bunch of damaging ults that you have to like do really specific combos with if you want to get through just one support ult. So it's just kind of, I think the ults in that game are what make the game, like they're the thing that the game hinges on versus Overwatch, where I think the mechanics for individual shots are more important than ults charge or whatever. But it's still important. Obviously, if you don't use your ult correctly, there's a good chance you are going to lose. Right. But it's not as pivotal. That's the word I was looking for. Pivotal.
You mean a game doesn't want to have 4 Zenyatta ults that go off and make a fight last for 4.5 minutes?
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically what Rivals is.
And the Zenyatta ult can also damage boost the team and also last for 12 seconds instead of whatever it is for Zenyatta. I'm not talking about Luna Snow. I'm not better. It's fine.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. So I think they're getting the idea down though that like running into that many heal walls essentially is not a great look for the game. But we'll see how it goes when time goes. It's still brand new essentially, right? And they've already released like what, 2 characters at this point?
And 2 every 3 months, which is a kind of a wild amount. Honestly,
that's a crazy pace.
It's I think it's very ambitious, but for the game's sake, like it needs to do that. Like it needs to establish really early on that it's going to adhere to its promises, like because Overwatch obviously hasn't, and that puts it at a massive deficit when it comes to comparing itself to other games going forward. So I think that's a good look for it, a pretty good look.
Yeah. I mean, for me, Marvel Rivals was like the game I escaped to because I played Overwatch so much and got so tilted at the game, and I'm like, I'm never gonna play Overwatch again. I'm only playing Marvel Rivals. Well, that turned out to be a lie, and I recently played Overwatch again, and having just the break and being able to swap between the games, I found actually increased my enjoyment of Overwatch when I was playing.
Yeah. I think people realize now that burnout is very much a thing, and you never know when it's going to hit you. But if you can get past the people that say one is better than the other and therefore the other should never be played, you'll find you'll actually enjoy yourself a lot more, I think.
Yeah. Imagine liking 2 different flavors of ice cream. What the?
Yeah, dude. There's only pistachio. But
my chat is asking me to steal your cat, by the way.
Oh, which one?
It's the only thing else in focus over there. It's just like everything's blurry, and then your cat just appears.
Come here, girl. No,
I'm curious.
She's moody.
As a streamer, do you find your chat like noticing a lot of stuff like in the background a lot more sometimes than like what's happening like in the game or on like on your screen?
If my dog walks in, there's a pet command for him specifically. They all love my dog. And then if anything changes in the background, someone holds up like a magnifying glass. And I'm like, interesting. What does this mean? I'm like, don't worry about it, man. It's just a little change of pace.
That takes me back to those like, did anyone play those like games in the arcade or the bars with their families where it was like the photo hunt thing where you find the differences in like the 2 photos? Like that's what that reminds me of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would never find I would never find anything wrong with them. It made my brother really mad. Like, yeah, I don't know. There's just nothing different here. He's like, yeah, they're different colored pants. I'm like that. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
This seems fine to me. It's the same pants.
Couldn't see it. Plot twist. He's colorblind. Yeah.
It turns out every streamer is just playing an ARG whenever they go live. You gotta spot the clues and figure out what the next big reveal is gonna be.
Yeah, that's the secret though. If you can figure that out, you're good to go.
There you go.
So what? Let me get a feel for you guys' personalities.
Yeah.
What's your favorite characters in Rivals? Let me just get a feel here.
Dude,
Good question.
I play Mr. Fantastic in the Human Torch. So,
Okay, so you just hate doing damage. All right, go on.
Yeah.
All right, what about the heater?
Yeah, I'm a big I like Spider-Man right now. I got so many hours. That's all I've been playing lately, but Jeff too, I'm a degenerate. I love me some Jeff.
Okay, so
You're
you're
the
like me.
backline
You want
terrorist,
people
yes.
to be absolutely furious no matter whose
Yes.
team it is. I get you.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
That's cool. I fuck with that. Also, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. My bad.
Yeah,
yeah,
You're good. I'll
You're
just
good.
I'll throw quacks in editing.
All right,
It'll
cool.
be
We have
fine.
all
I'll try to reel that back.
We
I did the same
make
thing
it.
on
We
my.
make it. Yeah.
Each swear eats advances soul slightly, but it's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Gosh, for me, who are my favorites right now?
Your name's
started off
Florida
as a-
Man, so if you're not playing some kind of crackhead character, I'm going to be really upset with you.
Then prepare to be disappointed because my favorite characters right now. Let's see. I started as a tank main, so I played a ton of Thor. He's the only character I have Lord on currently, and I want to say Strange as well. In the beta, I played a lot of Strange. Less so once season 1 came out, I picked up Thor. But then over the past season, I've like gotten more into the healer archetype, mostly because I keep flexing to it anyway. And then the team of friends that I play with that want to do a tournament just for fun at some point, they needed a support player. And so I've like sort of got stuck playing support. But I played a lot of support in Overwatch, so I enjoy it. So I'm mostly playing Invis and Loki lately are the two that I play mostly. So
Now, initially, when you said Thor, I thought you were going to be like, I'm here to make sure that no matter what position I'm in, I'm carrying. But then you said Doctor Strange, which makes me feel like, you're just a good guy that wants their team to be happy, which makes me upset because I expected you to be like Wrestling Gators equivalent in Marvel Rivals.
So
That's
that's what
I
I
know
was
it's
when I
like
play
opposite of what you
Thor.
think.
Whenever I have a team that flames the healers and swaps to triple support, I swap to Thor and just kill everything, and the game goes a lot better. So that does
makes
still
sense.
happen sometimes, but that's like my inner Sakura. If you're like an anime fan, I don't know. That's sort of how it is.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Van Helsing. If it's not Wolverine, we're gonna have problems, man.
Right?
So, funny fact, I hate Wolverine with a passion.
Okay.
I think that is the most.
Change your name. Just change it.
Well,
It's
it's
Vance
to be
now.
fair, it's
just
Vance
Vance
Helsing.
now, dog.
No. I guess Wolverine existed long before I did, but no, my favorite character is Hawkeye because I was a Hanzo main in Overwatch.
Okay. Yeah, I've been picking up Hawkeye just because of, once people go triple support, it's a lot harder to play Spider-Man when
Yeah,
you're
oh
like
my
Celestial. So I was just like, all right, I'll just one-shot them, I guess.
Yep.
And of
Yep.
course that makes them furious. So I mean, it's still
Yep.
on brand, right? But it feels dirty.
Exactly.
Like it just feels dirty while I'm doing it. Like I don't start Hawkeye unless I'm playing with my friends and I like don't want to let them down. But like it feels dirty playing Hawkeye because he's just a worse Hanzo. And not worse as in like skill level. I mean like he kills things better than Hanzo does because he's throwing Lincoln logs at people compared to Hanzo's like toothpicks. It's a whole thing.
You would
I
get
have
along
that-
with my friend Artie. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was about to say I have that same feeling of just bad when I swap Namor against a Spider-Man that's beating the crap out of me, and I'm just like have 10 minutes on the guy, but somehow I'm being effective. I'm like,
You are the bane of my existence. I want you to know
Yeah,
that.
you're the worst kind of person.
Holy
I
Yeah.
don't want to talk to you right now.
Sometimes you gotta
Turn it
swap.
down,
Sometimes you gotta swap
Michael.
Namor, dude.
Yeah. I
It's like, I'm
respect
just-
the Hawkeye swap into triple support though. Like my friend
The
will do that,
Namor
and he'll
Loki.
type in the chat. Yeah, he'll type in the chat like "you made me do this," and then come out in Hawkeye and one-shot things, and then the enemy supports will type back in chat like, "I understand what kind of man you are." Like,
So
Yeah,
the thing with
that's,
Hawkeye, like
something.
I'm gold rank, so I'm low tier, but you just swap Hawkeye and you don't even have to hardly aim. You just kind of just throw arrows down lane and you eventually
Same
get
thing with
kills.
Hanzo, man. Yeah, I understand
Exactly.
it, man. I understand it. I'm just
You got a
saying.
little bit of
I'm just
game
saying. If you wanna improve really quick, go Hela. and then it'll transfer immediately to Hawkeye, and you'll just do better than anyway.
Yeah,
that's like the whole difference there.
The secret sauce, yeah.
And people get way less mad at you when you're popping off on Hela. They'll just call you a hacker faster. That's
right.
That's my go-to. It's like there's no way that Hela landed that shot. She's cheating. Report.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like the most reported characters at like every rank. I'm pretty sure it's probably just gonna be like Hela Punisher.
Oh, it's always Hela.
Oh
Yeah,
my
Hela and
God.
Punisher. Actually, sometimes probably Rocket. The only like I've watched a few people, other content creators that have done like the spectating thing that a lot of people do, and like a lot of cheating Rocket players. I feel like in some of those series. I don't know if that's indicative of the overall population of cheaters, but it was just weird to me. I'm like, how do you need to cheat playing Rocket? You just like
see, that's the thing. Rocket is such a low skill hero that you can cheat on him, and everybody's just gonna think maybe he's just a good Rocket. Because
I don't know. These rockets are shooting through walls. If you watch some of the videos, it's like they're just killing people. Yeah.
I mean, you have literal cheaters playing Rocket, but the thing I don't think a lot of people realize is that despite Rocket's like weird bullet projectile thing, where it goes like really far to the left and right when you're trying to aim because it's so slow. If you watch that, what is his name? The gaming merchant guy who gives you like crosshairs for every character. Yeah. He has one specifically for Rocket, and I went over this with my chat before we watched the video just because I wanted to see what like that guy's opinion was on a bunch of them. I think most of them are unnecessary for the most part, but the one for Rocket and Penny and I think Hawkeye had some merit to them. Specifically, though, Penny and Rocket are the two that really stuck out to me because Penny has like a very specific like angle that you have to like to like launch the mines accurately, which is not intuitive like at all.
Yeah.
So you have to like really figure that one out on your own, or you could just do the guy's crosshair and it shows you how to do it. And I'm like, oh, that's actually very good. And the other one was Rocket, which you aim at the edge of the circle that they have set up, and you'll actually hit them like in the head when they're strafing and whatnot. And he does more damage than like Star-Lord does. If you hit like all your bullets and first Star-Lord hitting all his bullets, Rocket will do more damage.
Rocket pumps when they do shoot.
Yeah, so if you have a cheater on Rocket, you'll actually just obliterate someone like instantly. It's kind of
I learned the other day that he actually is similar to Wolverine and now Iron Fist, that he does percentage-based damage with his bullet projectiles. So I wondered why he shredded tanks so
Rocket
quickly.
does?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I was unaware of this.
Yep.
I just thought he did a lot of damage.
Yeah, I participate in like I wanted to get better at the game, so I started doing this like coached thing, and like in one of the classes, someone mentioned it the other day, and I said, "Wait, what?" And then everyone was like, "Oh yeah, he does percentage-based damage." And I looked it up on the Marvel Rival, like the stat thing on there. I was like, "Wait, what?" I was I knew in the beta he shredded tanks, but I thought it was just because they get real close and you hit their head. But like, oh no, it's like, yeah, it was really weird. They might have changed it since then, but I back then I know that's how it was. I don't know if it still is. I could be wrong now.
You would think there'd be some kind of like when you look at their like you hit F1, you see all the abilities. There'd be like an hit Alt F1 to see every single thing that this character can do, like percentage health damage. That would have been great for Wolverine when the game first launched, don't you think? Instead of everyone thinking he was an F tier character that did nothing, so he eats tanks alive, and also the damage is based off of his rage meter. That would have been so sick to know, dude.
It would have been very helpful for sure. There's like lots of little things like that. I remember that being the case in Overwatch too. Like I always wish that there was like a thing that had slightly more info on like the hero screen. So I think it's just like a hero shooter thing in general. It's like, you put MOBA elements into a shooter game and like need to simplify it, but then also need to not simplify it for when you actually want to start learning to play the game. It's like, how do you do that?
Weird idea here. Just tell me the damage numbers behind the abilities, so I know how much damage I'm doing per shot, so I can like lab this stuff out. I still don't know the exact damage number when I web tracer someone as Spider-Man and uppercut them. I just know it does a lot more than the other one, so I'm assuming that it's probably like 120 damage or something. I don't know though. I can't tell because the bots don't have health bars. I gotta guess.
Oh, they don't, do they? Yeah.
They don't have numbers on their health bar. It's just a guessing game. I know they're 250 health, but I can't accurately break it down. I guess the line might be like 40 health or 50, but that doesn't make sense. What are these boxes, dude?
Put the numbers on there, please.
Triggered.
I just in the practice range alone would be fine. Just show me what it is. That's all. Tell me how much percentage damage reduction the person gets when the thing jumps to them. All I know is they got rocks floating on them.
Great question. Yeah. I don't know.
It's a lot. I want to say it's like 30%. It's something crazy. It's a lot of DR. Like the thing.
Yeah, but it really could be 40, and you just don't know. You just don't know.
Yeah.
Do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, exactly. What's the healing per second on Luna's ultimate? I don't know. My health bar per second, I guess. I couldn't tell you, but I know sometimes I die in it still, and it's not just a Hawkeye killing me. So maybe give me some info here. I got to lab out so I can burst through that.
I would love it if the devs finally put that in the game, and every time it was like a large number, instead of putting the actual number, they just put a lot. Like that's really troll people. And then like if it was like a small number, they'd be like a little, like some, like just very vague words purposefully, but like the information's there, but there's no numbers. It's just like random words.
It'd be pretty good for an April Fool's joke. I'll give you that. It's just like a little bit. It's just like
that's one thing Overwatch did really good was the April Fool's thing. I love those events. They should bring that to Marvel Rivals.
I'll always love the dragon with the googly eyes just coming at me. Just like I'll just stand here and see it.
It's the old voice lines for me. I remember I started as a console Overwatch player, and I specifically remember like the Diva ulting and hearing pressing Q, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" I was like, "Oh right, that's the ultimate button on PC, probably." Like,
Sombra's like propaganda is useless.
It's actually
no one knew what the hell you were saying. Well, I mean, some people did, but if you didn't know Spanish,
I was just gonna say, like, as someone who's fluent in Spanish, like being in Florida and stuff, like it was so funny because so many of my friends were like, "Wait, that's not what she actually says," and I was just like, "No,
wait, is that not what she says?"
Right? No.
Oh,
yeah. No, the actual voice line is apagando las luces, which means I'm turning off the lights, which is like very fitting for like the EMP ability, right? So yeah,
I'm learning so much today. I didn't expect this. I gotta pull out my notes. Pen
and pad, sir. Pen and pad.
Notepad. Yeah.
Right.
So one of the reasons we asked you, Twobold, to come on our show is because we were absolutely inspired by your video on the iron violation. Like that was just a masterwork in BM. Like
yeah, it was my magnum opus for sure. Like ever since I got into the game, I had this idea and I was just like, man, I hope no one beats me to this because this is going to be the funniest thing I think that has ever happened if it happens successfully. And I finally got my friends to do it with me. And awesome. Yeah, it happened, like, we got it successfully so quickly that it was really surprising. 'Cause I thought it would take a little bit longer to set it up properly because I imagine people would just, run back to their person getting absolutely diddled in the back line, essentially, by like an entire group of 6 at their spawn. And it turns out no one actually cares at all. So, I mean, that's indicative of every team game whatsoever. So poor Dr. Strange, man, he had a rough day. He had a real rough day, but now he's cemented in Rivals history, probably.
Yeah, that is the best Marvel Rivals like video, I would say.
Like, and it's the first time I've ever had like people contact me and be like, "Hey, can we use your video?" And then other people not contact me and just straight up take it. So like, this feels bad, but also, I mean, hey, man, if everyone loves it, I'm good to go. People remember me for this. I'll be happy with that.
I think that the first place that I saw it was on Instagram Reels, and I don't remember who even posted it, but it was for sure a repost. I don't think that it was your. Are you? You are on Instagram now.
I'm on Instagram, but I don't think I've opened it in forever. It's asking me for a password I don't remember, and I don't feel like resetting it. So I think Instagram is lost to me, and TikTok hates me. TikTok hates me. I tried uploading that video. I got 2 views. 2 views. I'm like, what are you? How are you hiding this from people? There's no way that like it's just not being viewed. I have it. I have followers. They see this. You're telling me it's just not going to them? So I don't know what TikTok dislikes about me, but I'm not getting anything there. But YouTube Shorts absolutely popped off, so that was cool, and Twitter as well.
Yeah, that's how I saw it originally. As I saw it through, the YouTube Shorts, and then later Flats covered it. So that had to have been a feeling, like having Flats cover a video of yours too.
It was really cool, but also like my buddy Retro is his editor, and he literally went into Flats' stream when he was doing a review. He's like, "Hey, you should check out this video." And I was just like, "My boy, I appreciate you."
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
That's awesome.
So I kind of snuck that one in there, but I was gonna ask him to do it later on, but he was a step ahead of me, so good on him for that.
I have to ask, how long did it take from the conception of the idea to like finishing the entire, like, because you mentioned in the video you guys had to like practice in the training range, and that was the moment when I was watching that I was like, wait, nah, this is next level.
Dude, shockingly, like an hour, if that.
Really?
Like, yes, I swear to God. No we did one game or maybe 2 games I think where we didn't practice at all, and I just told them we should like go into this specific order. And everyone's like, it's too hard. We need to practice. I'm like, it shouldn't be this hard. There's 6 of us here, and one of us is just teabagging the air for like 30 seconds straight. Like it can't be this difficult for us to combo this. But
the most
like,
valuable
no,
piece of that.
Yeah, exactly. That was the cherry on top for sure. Yeah.
Oh
So they're just like, we need to practice this going in order, and I was like, all right, fine, and we did that. So I was able to realize that cooldowns reset when you go into big Hulk form, so you get the extra time on that as well, and the grab. So it ended up being like a good idea. Who would have guessed practice makes perfect?
Right.
But then we went into the next game, and then it all lined up perfectly. Ottawa threw himself off a cliff. Retro was already in portal and just said it's perfect. I was just like, I really hope he doesn't shield anything, but he just turned around and was just like, oh my god, 6 men, and then just was stunned for the next 30 seconds. So
me on Friday night. Wait, what? Sorry.
I think one of my personal favorite parts of that video wasn't even the actual 20 seconds. It was that bit you did with you're forming your dream team, like ML7, Boger, Moist Critical. It's like, I wish, but I just have these guys.
Yeah, I had the B team. In reality, it's more like the C team, because if I was looking for like everyone that I wanted to have on there, I would have to go through another whole content creator list, go through, like, this would be perfect for all these guys to be able to promote this on their socials and stuff. And I was just like, I mean, I have all my friends that I love, so I guess I'll include them in this as well. So throw them in there as well.
That's awesome.
But hey,
it's so much cooler.
Yeah, it honestly, I think it was way better, because it shows that anyone's just like, you can have any of your friends do this that you want to. Like if you want to do this to someone, you can. The instructions are right here. It takes like maybe 20 minutes for you guys to really figure out what your roles are going to be, but you can do this yourself. Ruin someone's day. Trust me, it feels amazing.
What have we done?
No, it wasn't a what have we done. It was a please do this. I want to see more videos of people doing this to some poor guy, because this is the funniest thing I promise you your entire team can do. It's better than winning the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I like to imagine the utter disbelief that Ottawa had to have been in, like, as it was happening. It's like, right, if like we could somehow see through his camera and like catch the moment of realization that this is a thing, just like dawn on him, that would have been.
I mean, I think the best part about the entire thing was at the very end, when you see it from his POV, when he's about to get shot by the Iron Man ult, the net from Penny Parker comes and stops him again. That was, I don't know why, but that split second, like, you just like, it's just a little bit of like someone just spitting on like a dead body already. It's just like, dude, he didn't have to do that. He was gone. He was not coming back from that.
Yeah, I would have just like got up and got a bowl of cereal or something. All that was going on. That's a crab.
Go wash your dishes. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess I'm not playing today.
My favorite of the entire thing was you putting the clip over like that audio meme at the end of like, I can't wait to play my favorite game, he said excitedly. I was then diddled by the sweatiest, most bitchless, unemployed creatures I've ever seen. And I'm just like, oh my god.
That was pretty good. That was my, like, when I first heard that was probably one of my favorite, like, favorite TikToks of like the day, the week, that kind of thing. And my editor Ollie, who's fantastic and basically made that entire video what it was. I was just like, I want to try and do this. And I was like, dude, I have the best way to end this. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So he put that together, and he really made it the video that I always envisioned it in my head, because he's way, way better at editing than I could like ever hope to be without like, really sitting down and practicing for a very long time. So I trusted him with that idea, and it popped off really hard. So I was pretty excited about that. It's the only editing I do at this point. Yeah, his name's Ollie Delaber.
Nice.
Really cool dude.
Shout out Ollie.
Shout out Ollie. Yeah.
There's a bunch of short form work for a bunch of VTubers and stuff, and I found him through one of our mutual friends that he also works for, and so usually I just hit him up whenever I need something edited down. And the only editing I do now is like a really quick short, or like my game shows that I do, because they have very minimal editing. Because my buddy Magic the Noah was just like, hey, this is working really well for me. You should try it out. And I was like, yeah, I'll do my best. I love this type of stuff. So, either way. But I trust him for all the stuff that requires any level of like complication or editing and that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, you do that. Here's your money. Good luck. I hope it pops off. That kind of thing.
Vance, you mentioned actually you had seen Twobold stuff from Magic the Noah, right? Before even the Rivals thing.
Yeah, I found you while watching Magic the Noah specific. I forget what the title of the video was, but it's where you had to fight like the 9 Hydras in a row. And
the Ganondorf.
Yeah, Ganondorf. I never laughed so hard like at it's such a simple like video. Like it's not visually super stimulating. Actually, I mean the special effects are fantastic. Magic the Noah does great work on that. But and then I watched your last night actually while I was at work. Don't tell my job. I watched your Christmas video that you did with Magic and Divine.
Oh yeah, what a nightmare that ended up being. That was supposed to be an hour and a half adventure. It turned into like 20 minutes in and out, like now 3 hours later.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there like slamming my head against the desk, praying to God Heavenly actually fight something instead of trying to type something into a computer. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I love those guys so much.
Nice.
But yeah, it was fun to watch that.
I have another clip that I just posted on Twitter that I thought would be, a funny little like thing where I go as Spider-Man and I fly through Hell's Heaven. Because on one of the starting maps, you can as Spider-Man, you can get to the enemy spawn before like anyone that doesn't have a movement ability can even get halfway to the point. And I instantly delete an Adam Warlock, and I'm like, this is the fastest kill in all of Marvel Rivals. Perfect clickbait title. And then I put that on Twitter, and it's at like 16,000 likes now. And the amount of just hate that I see for like Spider-Man as a character for me for playing Spider-Man. People being like, yeah, while you did that and Adam rezzed himself, there's a Black Panther that killed 4 people on your team back there. You did nothing. And I'm like, dude, it was quick play.
Right.
You're lucky I was even fighting. I could have just been sitting up in the rafters trying to pull someone off. Instead, I got a quick Adam Rez passive deleted from the game. I would not have been able to stop Black Panther from somehow killing an Adam Warlock at the beginning of the game with a tree, with another healer. Like, dude, what do you expect? It's Adam Warlock. With one button, he stops that. Somehow Groot died. What am I going to do about that? He's got 900 health, dude. I can't help that. I can't help that.
They'll blame anything for anyone's death except for themselves. Yep.
Yeah, you know what? Twobold brought it up with the Spider-Man. There's a common sentiment going on right now across Reddit, across Steam, that Spider-Man is too strong of a character.
Ooh, spicy.
Like, yeah, people. Well, I think it's the Genji, like the Genji effect, like in Overwatch, where people will play Genji and people are like Genji is super strong, but like, is he?
You gotta be mechanically skilled. If you're not, man, he's not. He's not strong.
I want to hear your perspective on that, Deheater, because as a Spider-Man enjoyer, and you too, since you also seem to enjoy the character.
Spider-Man sucks.
The only reason I started playing Spider-Man because I was getting killed by Spider-Man. You can go back to the old podcast. I specifically said Spider-Man. I'm sorry, screw Spider-Man. He's terrible. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna dip a toe, see what it. Now I'm like 12 hours later, 13 hours later, whatever. And I love him.
Here's the thing about Spider-Man. He is the most rewarding and I think the most fun overall character to play because you're basically playing like your own game at that point. Yeah. You can just go wherever you want. But the thing is, you're never going to be as good as a Hawkeye that just hits 2 arrows. Yeah. Like, it's just you're not. You have to expend over half of your resources to one, get in position, and 2, actually like hurt a target because you're not guaranteed to kill them because a Bucky can look at you and pull you in and then you die and then it's just over. Or a healer can kick any one of their 6 buttons to make it so you can't hurt them anymore. Or a tank could look at you and put a bubble on your target and be like, all right, I'll be back in 30 seconds once I have all my web tracers back. So I'm gonna miss 3 hitting you. That's guaranteed because they go at a weird ass speed. Like it's gonna take like another 2 seconds for me to figure out where I need to position so you won't see me. Because if you see me, I'm gonna die. And then I have to do a custom combo that requires 7 buttons in a row at the right time, or you're gonna mess it up. And even then, you're still not guaranteed to kill anyone. And you can't kill multiple people until you have your ults, and that can be undone by like 100 things or stunned out of. Like he's not a good character. He's just fun. And he can abuse people that aren't paying attention, which makes him a demon in low rank.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
What the
think he's
thing
definitely
is, so is half the cast if you play them well, and they do it easier. It's an easier
Literally.
time.
Literally.
Like
Yeah.
Bucky's a
Imagine-
nightmare. He's got cleave on his bullets. He can hook 4 people in one hook and take them wherever he wants with his fist that also gives him bonus health. Like, how are you getting mad at Spider-Man when Bucky exists?
Literally. Bucky,
Twobold,
let's talk about Hela. I'm sorry. No damage fall off bug, by the way, which is broken. Invulnerability, teleportability, then a stun that like a stun, an ult that gives her iframes. Like that character like is certainly a character that exists in the game. I will say that.
Yeah, Twobold got me going on the. I was all last episode on the Bucky hate. That's right. I hate the most over-kitted character in the game by far. By far, you could take away anything from his kit and he'd still be good. Be good.
I completely agree. I think Bucky's one of my most banned characters at this point, just because one, his ultimate is just incredible. Because if anything dies that he's touched, he gets it back forever. That's just gonna keep going, and the damage doesn't stop. It doesn't get like harder to kill anything. It gets easier. So you just hear again 400 times. You're like, well, I guess our team got Bucky diffed. GG, go next, I guess.
Right.
By the way, don't worry about the shields. You can just blow those to bits because he auto reloads on every ability he uses. By the way, he's got 400 health. Good luck shooting through that. It's a whole thing, man.
He doesn't even have to hit the abilities, get the extra HP. He just got to hit them. It's like, okay.
It doesn't even make sense. Like everything about his kit is crazy. Like I get the idea for why he needs health because he's supposed to be like a brawly like gun guy. But the thing is, the bullet's the size of like a brick. He's just hurling them downstream, and he doesn't have to worry about anything because he's not punished for it because he gets the bullets back when he throws an orb a hallway wide at you, and you're slowed. So you're just gonna take that on the chin whenever that's gonna happen. Like he's just infuriating to play against. It's crazy.
I'm sure Seth is a Spider-Man enjoyer. Like he's one of the hard counters.
I hate the Bucky, like when you're playing a game, even in just like quick play, and you're doing well on whatever your character you do, and you see the swap to the Bucky, and they're a lord on it, just like everybody else who plays that character, they're a lord. It just makes me so mad. He's a crutch character. You play him when you start to lose, just like Namor. I hate it. Well,
it's tough.
Yeah, it's a rough place for a character to be in when he's so dominant. But I mean, it's just how the games go. Like eventually, next patch will probably get nerfed or something because he's egregiously overtuned at the moment. Yeah. Same way Hela and Hawkeye were in season 1. Like you'll get your nerfs the way Storm was nerfed, that kind of thing. You'll get everything done. It's just at the moment he's miserable to deal with. Spider-Man, I think, is probably, if you touch anything about him, he's going to be too strong. Like don't touch his numbers. You don't really need to do anything. I personally would love to have it like another web swing or a shorter cooldown on them. But again, you can move so fast with so many different of your abilities. Like he could very easily tip over the edge where he's just a broken character.
Quick.
Real
quick. I was watching really interesting commentary. I think it was Coach Mills that I was looking at. He did like a video on like the pick rates, win rate data that the Rivals periodically releases, which shout out to them and the devs for doing that, by the way, because it's really nice to have. But it was interesting. Apparently this latest patch or the patch before, but Spider-Man's pick rate went way up, but the win rate stayed the same, which I thought was interesting. So like, okay, the character is like still viable, but like the win rate was I think like 51 or 52%, so like positive, but not like egregious so. Like there's obviously way more broken characters that we just talked about, but it was interesting. I'm like, that's a very healthy spot, I feel like. So I feel the same way as you, Twobold. I'm like, I really hope they just leave him alone right now. Like he's I think fine as someone who doesn't play Spider-Man but plays against Spider-Man a lot as a support player. I'm like, okay, like anytime Spider-Man kills me, I'm like, all right, I just suck. That's fine. Like I'm mad, but like I know that I could have played around it, And so
I think that's not necessarily true if he has a Venom team up because
true.
Genuinely feels like there's probably nothing you're going to be able to do if someone's not paying attention to you when he hits you with the instant kill combo, which I personally think is fun to do. Like it's great for me. I love that. But I also like if I'm ever forced to play healer, which is very rare because I'm like, guys, listen, I can do tank and DPS, but my healer is terrible because I've never looked at your lives as valuable. You know, like I just more than heal you guys. I just to put that out there right now. And I understand if you guys don't play healer either. I get it. I'll play Adam Warlock, but if the soul bind's not up, for 30 seconds, I'm probably not gonna be able to do much. So like, just put everything on the table there. But like if a Spider-Man comes in with the Venom team, I'm like, well, I mean,
Yep.
I don't have my soul bind up. This is the end. And then you just explode. But you know, he's already been nerfed, believe it or not. Like he did have the nerf where he could animation kill. Hello, Kaito. Do you want to say something to the podcast? Hello, baby. Sorry, my dog came up to me.
Oh no. I remember the animation cancel nerf because I was learning him before that, and I spent all that time learning that animation cancel to do the one shot outside of the Venom combo or the Venom team up just to have it taken away, and I'm like, oh man.
All that work, and what did it get me?
I mean, it wasn't even that particularly difficult a thing. It's just like whenever you were gonna like do your overhead, you could just uppercut and it would continue the animation of it. So like it wasn't crazy, and I get why they took it out. It sucks, but I understand. Like I get it. You don't want to like just be like, why did I just lose 90% of my health when Spider-Man uppercut me? Like I don't even know what just happened to me. It's like now he's got like a combo where if you do it correctly, you can like fly over a support or something, and you can do an overhead. You shoot the web, and then as it hits, you overhead them, and then you web them again, and then uppercut, and that will take out anything 300 health. But the timing is so precise, and if you get seen, if anyone hears your or whatever when you're doing stuff, they can stop it, and it doesn't happen often. But when it does, it's very satisfying. But you have to do the combo just right, otherwise you're just standing there like, I'm leaving. It's been nice talking to you. So I'll see you in like 30 seconds, Mr. Healer. Keep an eye out for him.
A lot. I feel like, honestly, like on the subject of characters with one-shot combos, like Magic is like in a really, really strong position, but just like kind of slept on. And I'm terrified for the day that like the DPS players like start waking up to the fact that Magic is like more consistent version of Spider-Man. I
mean, if we're gonna be entirely honest, all the dive characters save Panther are more consistent than Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I have Lord on Panther and Spider-Man. I played Panther almost exclusively when it first started. And I gotta tell you, there is nothing more devastating than when you try and dash through someone as Panther and you hear the sound, but your cooldown doesn't go. You don't get your cooldown back. So I stopped playing Panther because I was just so annoyed that I would get the hit sound so often. And then I switched to Magic.
Fix that bug. Yeah.
Dude, Magic is so good and just so much better than most of the melee DPS because everything she does is just solid. She's been nerfed. Now she's in a pretty, like, I'd say solid spot. But she's a strong character. She's genuinely very strong. Yeah. But she has damage fall off on her sword now, I think. Yeah. Which is hilarious.
Does she? I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, and her ultimate, isn't it? Like, the farther it is in the ultimate, like,
and your normal attacks too.
The AoE is so massive in her ult, so that's kind of fair.
So she's probably in like a good spot now. Before she was utterly absurd. Like there's just nothing you could do against a Magic player that decided they wanted to hurt you. And she's like, all right, she dashed at me, and then I just died. I don't know what to tell you. That's
literally how I would feel.
I've put a few hours on Magic, and I am really good at hitting her ultimate and then dying almost immediately. It's
Preach. Say your piece, King. Say your piece.
Yeah, it's a talent of mine, honestly.
Jarvis feed and blame the supports.
I used to try when I first played Magic. I was like, oh, she's kind of like Genji, where I just like dash into the air and then use my ult and then dash at someone and do it that way. And then I realized like, no, you don't even have to do that. You just ult around a corner and then just teleport, spin, and then something will explode. So you're probably fine there. But Magic's one of the few characters that can kill like through Luna ult on whatever character she wants with a full charge right click dash. If you do it just right. Like you have to do a spin first, so that way Luna loses her, or not Luna, it is Luna. Loses her shield thing for her ult. And then you can charge up a right click, and then as soon as you let go, you dash with it. Yeah. And if you're close enough, you'll just hit her and she just dies.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But it also costs you like most of the time in your ult because you're charging your right click for like 2.5 seconds. So you really have to hedge your bets there.
Nasty.
But she's a really good character. She's a really, really fun character. But in my ranked games now that I've reached like Celestial 2, 1, or Celestial 2, 3, GM 1, Celestial 3, Celestial 2, Celestial 3, GM1, that kind of thing. I've been playing Spider-Man at the beginning of matches, and then when I get 4 kills in like 5 minutes, I'm like, all right, I'll just go Psylocke. and then I'm just a better Spider-Man, and you know, it's just. Yeah, he's just a bad character, man. It's just a bad character.
Oh yeah, I have a question. How quickly in your games would you say when you play Spider-Man you see the Namor swap come through? Like,
if they're not already playing Namor, because he's a disgusting character that could just walk behind you, throw 2 squids down, right click, and then just your entire team dies in the back line because no one turned around for Namor. Probably like the second I see a blue squid, and I'm like, all right, it's not worth it anymore. I don't even want to bother dealing with this guy. Unless he's terrible, in which case I'm like, all right, I guess I'll go try and bully him. But even then, if he puts down a blue squid, like I'm going to be bullied most of the time. So I think Namor is a terribly designed character. I hate him so much. I don't have any trouble with a character that has a turret. I think that's fine. I have a trouble with a character that has 3 turrets forever, and they shoot faster for some reason, and they have crazy range, and they take away half my health before I even realize I'm being hurt by them. Like, everything about him just sucks to deal with. Like, he's just not fun.
I hate how, like, if you're playing Spider-Man or any flanker, he can just hold on to the turrets and wait for your dive, and it's like throws one out and right clicks you. You're just done. It's like there's nothing. Like I said, no time on Namor ever, and I just played him in a GM2 game and never had any time on him, and ended up carrying the game. Never played the character before because he's easy. I hate to say it, he's easy.
He doesn't have damage fall off on his infinite spears that he throws. Like they're infinite. There's no reload time for them.
Yeah, that's weird. I forgot about that. Yeah,
his right click makes it so it does crazy damage. First off, it doesn't even have to hit you in the head. It just does damage. It's just another spear he just gets to throw, so he can do one, then the other, and then another, and you die because he's the same damage as Hela essentially. If he hits a headshot by accident or otherwise, his squids get empowered. His right click empowers the squids. He has them up forever, especially if Luna's there. It's just miserable to play against him. Thank God his ult sucks 90% of the time. But when it doesn't suck, he kills your healers because they're in the middle for some reason. So I mean, what are you supposed to do against that? Like, he's a miserable character to play against, and I think he's poorly designed. But also, I'm a Spider-Man man. Take this with a grain of salt. I understand that I'm biased heavily, and I don't care. I want you to know I hate that guy.
Yeah. Yep. I think people who think Spider-Man is too strong have never played them themselves and don't see like those moments where you like miss all 6 of your web clusters and just have to run away anyways. It's like oh well.
Yeah. I feel about Spider-Man for me as a support player. I'm like, I don't feel that he's too strong. I do feel that he's annoying and really difficult to play against because like the thing with dive is that like it's a lot easier to like go in and dive someone at the same time as one other person than it is to have your team help you survive a dive. Like living through a dive takes less coordination than like doing the dive itself. They're both hard. Like I think dive is the most fun thing in the game personally. But
it is.
Well, here's the thing, and I try to tell my friends this too, especially people that are trying to climb in rivals. Because I've been top 500 in Overwatch before, back when I was like, really good and not 30. And that kind of thing.
30.
I feel that.
Yeah. So I've seen my skill decline. I understand. I hate every second of it that it's happening, but I get it. I'm not as fast as I used to be. That kind of thing. But when you're at your peak of like reaction time and just having time to play video games in general, what you come to realize as you go on is that it's so much easier to initiate things than it is to respond to them, especially in a team environment. That the game sense that you can learn from other people is that when you go characters that dive, you are going to have an advantage because it takes 1, 2, 3 people to just fight a target. Whereas when the dive is happening, you have to dissect what is being targeted, who is dying, and how you can help them reactively. Like, because and the dive is just hit that guy. So you all hit that guy. It's that easy. And when you're being dove, it's, oh my God, there's a Venom! Spider-Man is flying through here! Where did Thor come from? No more squids! Why are we shooting them? It's like the whole thing, And you don't know which one of your supports is dead already. Like you just lost the fight. So
I was playing quick play like a few days ago with one of my friends who plays on console, and I somehow that game like got stuck solo supporting, and the enemy team I distinctly remember this. The enemy team had Iron Fist, Magic, Psylocke, Panther no, they didn't have a Panther. They just had the Iron Fist, Psylocke, Magic, and the enemy team had a tank and 2 supports with that. And I was like, and our team had like one tank. One tank was at 40 PS, and then I was the one support. And I remember like
so you've
someone
lost
typed
already.
literally, and someone typed in chat like after the first round, like we need some, like, can I get some heal? Like they like were spamming some healing, and then they typed GG, no healing in the chat after like they died when I was trying to heal 3 other people that were critical, and like they spammed it like on repeat, like in the spawn room at the start of the next match, and I went in voice, and I was like, I don't want to hear none of y'all hoes complaining about heals. You have the technology. You can fix this.
I had a game.
If I have to choose between myself living and y'all living, I'm living, because if I die, you all die. Like,
yeah, I literally had a game today where I'll sign in and 5 DPS locked. I was like, cool. I'll play support. I'm going Jeff. I went Jeff. I was just flanking, like not even caring about them. And then like the Punisher's like, "Where's my heal?" And I was like, "Don't yell at me, number one."
Nope.
You owe me
First
your
off,
life.
your voice is way too loud for the 4 other DPS that are on this team. So first off, check yourself.
Exactly.
Second, the healing's happening next to me. So if you want that, you can come get these bubbles I'm taking.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
be next to me.
Bubbles.
Do your own education. Go find a health pack. You know, that kind of thing.
Health packs unheard of. No.
And then I just waited for them to get wiped, and then they thought they were safe, and Jeff ulted them all off the points.
It's comps like that are why, like, as much as like ranked can sometimes give me anxiety, because I don't like seeing my number go down when I'm a bad potato and lose games. I do enjoy playing ranked more than quick play a lot of the time, because
100%.
like people are willing to make a functioning team composition. So like, even if I have to swap, like I feel like I at least get a more consistent experience playing ranked. I don't know, how have you guys felt? I know we all have varying times and like preferences for ranked and stuff. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think you should only play ranked, honestly. I mean, you don't get better in quick play. you just get beat up on. But
I
don't know, man. I feel like if you go into quick play if you go into ranked with a character you've never played before, because you're like, I'm gonna learn Storm today. It's just like, no, you're not. Not in my game. Switch off, brother. Switch off. Go to quick play. Learn that shit there.
That is true.
Don't do it in my ranked game. That's all I'm asking. Quick play is for one thing. It's learning. If people yell at you in there, they have no lives and probably have Cheeto dust engraved in their keyboard. Like it's a whole thing there. Like if you're getting mad in quick play, you need to reevaluate. Go outside, take a walk, take a deep breath, hurl yourself into front of a car. Like it just don't bring the negative energy into my quick play game. Like just chill out.
Don't do that. But do touch grass, please. That's
why I have all my voice comms just muted already. One, because I don't want to deal with it, and also, I'm a world-class tilter. I am, but I've always told everybody that watches me, it's like no matter what I say, I know it's all my fault, and that's why I just don't say it to anybody else.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing when it comes to ranked, though, is that I think people should be less scared of playing it, because you will improve more quickly there. So find the 3 characters that you like playing, because one of them will be banned, I promise you. And then you can figure out how your character works better against people that are also trying their best, usually. Obviously, there are people that throw. It's going to be part of the thing. It's going to be frustrating. You will get mad. It's inevitable in any team-based environment. You're going to be upset. There are going to be toxic people. There's going to be negativity, but you shouldn't be scared of that. The mute button and silence is there for a reason. I think it's great when things go well, because you'll have people that are earnestly trying. Like I think yesterday when I was playing ranked, like 20 games of ranked, it felt like, essentially, where there's games where you just lose. That's going to happen. It's unwinnable because you don't have people that know how to play the roles that they're forced onto, or they're just toxic, or they're just throwing. It happens. It sucks. No one likes it. There's no fix for it. That's a human nature. Kaito, not right now, buddy.
Jesus, murdering that toy.
That's a loud squeaky.
Yeah, he just got a new one. Give me that. Give me it. But yeah, it's human nature, essentially. And sure, it's going to happen, but you will get better much quicker than you do in quick play. But if you want to practice fundamentals, go to quick play, have fun, do what you want. Tell your buddies that your team had 6 healers or something like that, and
quick plays for vibing with your friends and getting the mechanics down of characters that you want to learn. If you want to actually improve at a character you want to learn, that's what alt accounts are for. Which I know people have different opinions on smurfing and alt accounts and all that, but like you just don't get good competitive practice on a new character in anything else other than competitive.
I'm going to say something super toxic here. I'm going to say something that no one else is going to probably agree with here.
Go for it.
I personally, I despise skill-based matchmaking in quick play. I hate it so much. I feel like I've earned the right to stomp on gold players. I want to see them. I want them to know what Celestial looks like. Okay, I've earned that right. just as much as as the person that's one above all has the right to come into like a silver lobby and be like, God has descended into the server. The server admin has logged on.
Well,
it's time to be deleted. And you're like, oh, there's nothing I can do. He just doesn't miss. He's not cheating. I can see him lining up the shots, but I mean, it's 100% accuracy. What am I going to do?
That happened to me and Conrad the other day. We were playing a couple of games in quick play, and like I remember we won like a few very, very handily, and like we're both like Conrad's better than me. I'm like very low GM, like he's like mid GM, but like we're good, but like that's not like top like 2 or 3% or anything, nothing like and like we won 2 or 3 games, and then immediately the next game we got absolutely like pub stopped, like deleted, like server admin, like Hawkeye, like bullshit. And we were just Conrad was so totally, he's like, this Hawkeye's cheating. I'm like, I don't know, man. I watched my kill cam. I think he's just good. And then sure enough, after the game we look, it's like a full lobby of Celestial players, like 6 stacking against us or something. I was like, how?
I didn't. He did not miss, man. Like I was, I know. Peak for half a second, deleted kind of shot.
I'm telling you, it's crazy when you act like. There's a lot of people that will go into like streamers, chats and whatnot, right? And they'll be playing it like they're whatever the average skill level is for a game, and the streamer will be at like, I don't know, the top 0.01%, right? And they see him getting deleted in like a quarter second, and they're like, you're shit, right? And they just type that in there, and you're just like, I don't think you realize what he's fighting against. Like this is he's the same level as these guys in a different way. All right, he might be a tank player, but his decision making is what separates him from you. And also his Magneto shots aren't missing. It's just when he lets his shield down, his shield is down against top 0.01% hella Hawkeye Bucky. All right, he's gone. He's not going to survive this. He's made the calculated decision that if he deletes one of them, it's going to be a worthwhile trade. And you don't see that because he missed one shot by accident. Because again, they're 0.01% players that have better movement than you can even conceive of at your level. And it's not saying you can't get there. I'm just saying you aren't there. You don't know what that's like. And that's why I think skill-based matchmaking needs to go away. Because that server admin needs to come into your lobby to remind you what the cap is like. And it's instant death every single time. Well, it feels hopeless. Yeah, trust me, it's hopeless. It sucks. We were playing in a tournament, and we get out of here, dude. He loves that squeaky, man. Awesome. We were playing in a tournament, the last one that came up, and we won 7 out of our 10 matches, right? But one of the ones we lost was against all Eternity 1 above all players. And like we are all Celestial. We're all Celestial players. We've been really good at Overwatch for a long time. Like we are not inexperienced, but we're definitely not the top percent. And those guys made us understand that very easily. Like they didn't do anything super crazy. It's just like they were spread out and they just turned with the map as we rotated. And it just made it impossible for us to get at anyone because their positioning was always better. And whenever they shot at us, all of them shot at the same target and we just died. Like it's over. And then you try and isolate them in a 1v1 and their Mantis like double headshot my tank and forced him down with half health. You're like, how did that happen? He's like, I don't know. The Mantis just does more damage for some reason. Like I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But that's like what it is when you go up against that. And it really like this is your goal. This is what you want to be at. But you're going to go against that. So you have to be ready for it. Like that's really what it is.
I think it would be kind of nice. Go ahead, Connor. Sorry.
Oh, I was about to say, like, it was a few years ago. Me and Dehita were playing Overwatch in quick play and happened to just run into Silvok warming up somehow. We saw he was on Tracer, and we were like plat players, and we had this GM top 500 Torb guy playing Tracer, just absolutely dominating the whole map. Man, that was one of the most like I don't know what the
come to God moment.
Yeah, come to God moment. Like it's like how are you doing this to me? Like
I wouldn't feel. I was like, I want him, and he just put me down. I was like, all right.
Everyone will remember that.
Yeah,
you'll always remember that, man. Like we ran into Shroud during the beta, like his entire squad while he was streaming, right? And we're just like, guys, lock in. Let's put some work in. We're on the Shroud stream right now, dude. He beat us so bad on the game. He was like, I don't think these guys have ever played video games before. I'm like, that's the most devastating thing I've ever heard in my entire life. But I mean, to be fair, I never played professional CS:GO before. I don't have that kind of aim. He was playing Adam Warlock and just tink tink. I was like, all right, I guess I'm dead. I guess I'll never be able to fight that guy. So
I've seen his hella. It's absolutely disgusting. Like
it's just how it is.
Admin. Yeah,
it's just how it is.
That's healthy. I feel like in some ways to come up against players that are like that much better than you. Not all the time, because then that's frustrating.
No,
but, like,
not at all. That's horrifying. There should be some bias in there. But every once in a while, if you're on like a 10-game win streak and you're feeling yourself, there should be someone that comes down and just be like, no, too much.
The other shoe needs to drop.
And also, I feel like just does a good job. Like maybe people will make excuses for it, but like it maybe is enough to hopefully remind people of like, you might think that it's your teammates that are like, holding you back or whatever, but like, oh no, like this is what actual good players look like. And if you were that good, you would just do it too.
Exactly.
Humbling.
Back in the day when I was playing like Call of Duty, there was no skill-based matchmaking. Like COD 4, I would just run around with my friends, and there would just be sometimes where like, okay, I haven't left spawn in 15 minutes. Every single angle is covered, and there's been a chopper gunner in the air for 4.5 hours. It feels like so. I haven't. There's nothing I can do. I don't even know what to do about this anymore.
Nothing.
And that's until that point, me and my friends were just like, man, we run these servers. Like we're the best players around. Like it's a good thing to come across every once in a while, and I feel like if you've played for hundreds and thousands of hours and you're that good, you have the right to every once in a while be gifted one of those games. And to be fair, sometimes you do, for whatever reason.
That's kind of my theory on like why some people have such big egos when it comes to like online video games is because like in their town or wherever they're from, they're among their friend group in their community. They're the best at whatever particular video game it is, and they don't know how big the world is until they start playing these online games. And I think that's why there's so much ego.
Yeah, they're a big fish in a small pond. Like it happens. Eventually, you're gonna meet the ocean, and you'll be like, "Oh, that's a whale! Holy!"
That's it.
All right. So we've already talked. You kind of brought up the skill-based matchmaking thing, anyways. One of the other like ongoing, just continual things you'll see on the Reddit and the Steam forums is how one that everybody in this matchmaking system is boosted, and the hate and based on blame on matchmaking for the engagement optimized matchmaking. Do you have any thoughts on those topics, Twobold?
Oh, 100%. I think that for the most part, I think a lot of ELO is, or whatever the rank is very inflated for a lot of characters. I'll be honest, because the way that it works when you're climbing up to Celestial, because Celestial is like where it cuts off with this, is that you will earn more rank points when you're playing the game than you lose. So eventually, if you just keep playing, you will increase your rank. Like it's just going to happen until you hit Celestial, where you will lose as much as you gain, if not lose a little more. So you'll always be in the GM1 Celestial area, and that's where I think the most people that like have played the game the most, that think they're like the best thing ever, when they're really just like you just put in the hours, really, and you're better. You're better than other people for sure. Yeah, that's just the nature of practicing and just playing, right? But like you're not as good as you think you are. Yeah. Like in Overwatch, you had bronze, silver, gold, plat, diamond, master, grandmaster, right? And then you hit the top 500 area. In Marvel Rivals, they skip master and just put you in grandmaster. So you think already you're better than you are. Like that's just that's the nature of that ranking system. Is that when you hit grandmaster, you're like, I'm a grandmaster. I'm better than diamond players. That's like by a mile. It's like you're not that much. You're in master right now. Like you're in the master rank. Celestial is like again. You're crazy. You're crazy good compared to the average player. That's just how it is. Yeah. But you're not as good as you think you are.
Right.
Yeah.
As soon as you hit Celestial, you're going to realize that very quickly, that like the difference between Master and Grandmaster in Overwatch is the same as the difference between Grandmaster and Celestial in this game. It's that's going to hit you like a brick pretty quick, and you're like, oh, I understand where I am now. Or you're not going to realize that, and you're going to keep thinking that your team's the problem. And it's not the case. You just need to hit your shots, bro.
Yeah, I've always kind of questioned like the rank system in Marvel Rivals, because in my Overwatch time, like I peaked mid-diamond. That's as far as I ever made it, and that was only for a little bit before I went right back down to plat. And just in Marvel Rivals, I hit GM so fast. I was like, I don't feel like great about this.
I don't feel like I deserve the title of Grandmaster for what I've done to these players. Like it felt like it was a little too heavy-handed for me getting here. And I felt the same way, honestly. As soon as I hit GM, I was like, is this this is Grandmaster? I remember this being way harder in Overwatch.
Yeah.
And then I got Celestial, and I was just like, this is way harder than Overwatch. So you'll have that moment where you like understand what's going on, and you can either keep blaming your team, or you could like sit down and realize like maybe I shouldn't be going like as far into the back line as I'm going, and should play more around the team and coordinate things better. Or I could just turn off my mic and just keep being who I am, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
However you get to that point, essentially. But I think it's very coin flippy a lot of the times, and you have to be really, really good to offset that.
Yeah.
And I can look at my history right now, and it's literally a coin flip. I have one lost, one lost, one lost, one lost. 16 games in a row, it feels like, essentially. And it's I'll be honest with you. There's some games where I've thrown. I won't lie. I could have won those games, and that's fair. The other games, I know for a fact I was not the issue. I had 3 elims and 4 deaths, and my team had 0 elims, period, no assists. I did everything I could there, but we were destined to lose this, and that's fine. I get it. It's frustrating, but it happens. I could call my team shit, which they are, but I'm not going to their faces, because they all realize we aren't winning this. We're the worst players, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just tilt the enemy team by saying when I get one elim, I'm like, that should have happened earlier, and then everyone's mad at me. So that works out for everyone because their morale's destroyed.
So what I'm hearing is force 50-50 and engagement optimized matchmaking is keeping you at a 50% win rate to maximize your playtime.
No, I think I'm definitely keeping myself at a 50% win rate. I'm insisting on playing Spider-Man a lot more than I should. Let's get that out of the way first. I am the issue. I'm very much the issue. I promise you that. But also, like, it does feel that sometimes it's a very unbalanced thing, which is going to happen in every matchmaking thing. Yeah. And if they are doing something that's like engagement based matchmaking, which is not above developers. I mean, from like a shareholder standpoint, having people play your game from manipulating them psychologically, great stuff. That's an awesome business plan that I can get behind. I understand that. From a human perspective, where I'm a good person and haven't sold my soul to Satan, I would think this is a pretty awful thing to have to deal with. I would rather the games be, just even as they can be, or something like that. But whatever. I'll buy the $20 skin from the shop to get the boost in my algorithm saying like this guy has contributed his monthly allowance to the video game. Give him 4 people that know what they're doing.
That's why I buy the skins.
Yeah, exactly. You understand. It's not skill-based matchmaking. It's skin-based matchmaking. Let's not mince words over it. We know what it is, and we're just part of the problem. That's all it is.
All right,
my theory has always been with the matchmaker that like the engagement optimized matchmaking thing, like in general, the most engagement is going to actually come when people feel like the matches are fair. So it's actually, if they're optimizing for engagement, it makes the most sense that like they try and find matches that like you have, if they're calculating your skill correctly, you would have a 50% chance to win and a 50% chance to lose. So that's like the matchmaker doing its job well. And then if you play consistently at a level that's higher than the rank you're at, then you'll climb, and that's how it works. So like that
but you're human. That's the issue. Like, you're not looking at it psychologically speaking, because to you that would make sense, because you'd be like, I would love this. I would love it if this was how that worked. But you haven't sold your soul, so you don't understand that humans don't work like that. For some reason, the way we're wired is when we lose, we get furious and we have to rage queue for the next like 5 rounds until we've lost so much SR, we go to bed defeated. Like that's the idea.
Or to be clear, any potential advertisers out there or whatever, we will sell our souls right now.
Absolutely.
I tell my chat all the time, I can be bought. I haven't seen the price yet, but I can be bought. I will kill for any company. I promise you. But until that moment, I will fight like a human would.
The only thing that I think that they might be doing from a psychological perspective is what you guys were talking about earlier with the way that the rank system works. I do think that system is a lot more optimized for retention, specifically because like you said, Twobold, if you play enough, number go up, player happy, players stay playing. So like maybe not the matchmaker, but I do think the rank system is the way that it is for engagement purposes. And you look at it's actually kind of funny. So I was talking about this with one of my friends who plays Naraka. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of that game at all, Naraka Blade Point. It's started as a mobile game. It's like a PC game as well now, and also a console, I believe, too, which is where they play it. But it's a battle royale, like melee, like anime waifu, like battle royale with like weapons and stuff. Like it, but it's a battle royale game, so it's how all of those work. But it's made by NetEase.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Naraka though. They
Yeah.
give you a cannon that you can fight with, and that's the
Ooh.
hardest thing I've ever seen in my life. I will say I've played it like maybe 4 or 5 times, and one of my friends, she plays it religiously, I feel like, and she's
People like
very
it.
good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good game. Like overall, there's a lot of crazy tech to it. It's got a very high skill ceiling.
Yep.
It's just like it's very like I don't know, man. It's very Chinese developer coded.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it. Like they got great asses. The animations are kind of weird. It's very fast. It's brutal, and it's a good game. But I gotta tell you, man, it is hard as shit to play that game well, man. Especially as a battle royale. Especially, it's very crazy.
It's wild. But the reason I brought it up is because it's made by NetEase, and their rank system is like almost carbon copy, like the way that the Marvel Rivals rank system is. And it's, that's what NetEase mostly has done historically is mobile games, which are all about like retaining users and like keeping people like actively using the product. And so, yeah, that's like, I think why it is the way that it is because like it forces the grind onto people almost. And like other rank systems have done this too. Like even Overwatch's rank system, I think, is like this, but Overwatch's, in my opinion, has been a lot more, especially with the placement system. Like historically, I remember anyway, Overwatch's rank system being a lot more like designed more for competitive integrity than for it, at least how it seemed. I mean, they're a company. I have no delusions about them having the same goal of like retaining people and like making money because of that. But when it came to the rank system, I felt like it was actually like a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, like authentic, maybe more reflective of what you would hope to see, and like a thing that like classifies people based on skill, as opposed to like I get to play longer and then eventually no matter what I will climb if I win slightly more than I have lost. Anyway, that was long
I mean, no, thank you, Florida Man, for that. Well, that kind of like brings me to the question I really had for everybody, and is like, does it matter that the boost of the Marvel Rivals rank system is a little bit boosted? Because in my opinion, it's much more of a casual for funsy game than something like Overwatch or Valorant.
I think it's
I agree
much
with
more a casual game for sure. Like it's just designed that way, I think. But having a ranked system is how you get people that want to be more competitive to play your game and stay there, because you have to have both sides of the coin if you really want to pull people in, unless you're Team Fortress 2, in which case you're made by Valve and you're free of sin, despite having many sins in your back pocket.
Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's until they decide to, and they may not even ever decide to go and have like an actual competitive scene like Overwatch has with the Overwatch League. I don't think it'll be that big of an issue for Rivals. That's all I have.
What about you, Tahito Work? What do you think?
Oh yeah, I was saying I 100% agree. I don't think it matters. I feel like people are going to be in their ranks depending on their skill, regardless how you throw it.
Yeah,
Either get good or you're not good.
I think I forget who I was watching who was talking about this, but like there seems to be like this like lack of identity kind of between the ranks. Like what is a silver player? What is a gold player? What does a bronze player look like? What does a plat player look like? What does a GM player look like? And I can kind of see that, because like we've talked about, like you could climb to GM based on just amount of games played, if that's all you do.
Yeah.
That is one thing. I think it makes it like the types of mistakes that people like you'll like. I mean, granted, this is like a thing, but like I'll oftentimes like see people in my GM games like make mistakes that I see like my like hard stuck silver team like friends make, and I'm like, oh wait, this is GM. But that's that's obviously like isolated cases, and it's like, okay, like maybe they make those mistakes, we all do, but they're not making them as consistently, so that's why they're able to climb, or like whatever the reason might be. But I agree with you. To me, that's how it feels. It feels like it's not as easy to look at someone's gameplay and know like what rank this person is. Maybe that's just me, because I'm also like somewhat of a potato who just played quite a lot of games and got to GM. But so I don't know what the reason for that is. That's just how it feels, at least to me.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. Pretty much. Like if you wanna improve at any shooter, I think the best thing you can do is download an aim trainer and decide whether or not you want to base your aim around flicking or tracking, and then only do that for like an hour a day. Save your wrist. Trust me, don't do it more than an hour a day. I promise you, it's not worth it. But 1 hour can help a lot for like even just a week. When I was in college alone, I remember they had an esports team for CS:GO, and I had never played CS in like any real capacity. I think I was like a silver player, kind of thing. Like I was terrible at CS. I didn't really understand the guns. I just liked how the deagle worked, and I really enjoyed shooting the deagle because if you stood still, it shot straight and it killed in one shot. I was like, perfect, best gun in the game, cheap. I can have it every round. I got it. And I remember I was really really good at TF2. So like that was probably when I was the best at it. And you know my fundamentals were good at just like aiming in general, but you know I didn't know how to play CS. And I remember there was this one smarmy kid that was on the CS:GO team, like their B roster essentially, right? And he was just like he was watching me play, I think one day, and he was like, "Yeah, this game's good and all, but I mean, you're not really good unless you play CS." And I was just furious. I was like so mad. I was like, "You don't even Oh, okay. Do you know what? I'm gonna be better at you at CS in like a week." He's like, "Dude, I'm like whatever the rank above gold is." He's like, "You're silver. You don't actually know how to aim." And I sat down and I practiced aim training for literally 2.5 hours, I think, a day. When I was in college until I did that for like 2 weeks straight, right? And then I went into when they were having tryouts for the team, and I was the best I'd ever been at aiming. And I still didn't know how to play the game. I don't know how smokes worked. I don't know mollies, grenades, nothing. All I had was an AK and the deagle, and I immediately was better than every single person on that roster, including
clicking heads.
That's if you're wondering why you're stuck, it's because you haven't committed that kind of rage and pettiness to getting better. In case you're wondering. Like I know you think it's going to be like I need to play a better character or I need to, be a better. No, your fundamentals just need to be so on point that you bypass everyone that is smarter than you. Like just fundamentally. If you can do that, the rest will come with time just by playing the game. Yeah. But if you really want to improve fast, go and aim trader for an hour.
It does
every day.
Matter.
Yeah,
because the thing is, like, even without the decision making improvement, you'll just get away with a lot of plays, right? That like you wouldn't get away with if you like couldn't aim as well. And so that's the thing for sure.
If you ever get coached by anyone that's really good, they'll be like, you shouldn't put where you need to hit this shot.
Right.
That's one of like the biggest things they'll tell you. It's just like you need to just position better and then make it so enemies will outposition or like put themselves in a place where they're in a bad place to come get you. And that is smart. That is what you should do. However, caveat, I hate that person on the enemy team so much. I want them to die when they're on my screen for a second. And sometimes you get 2 shots to make that happen. And if you can, you're going to feel so much better and play so much better than them that you will make them put their keyboard through a wall and you won. The rest of the match doesn't matter. That man lost. And that will make you climb ranks faster than you could ever get by coaching. All right.
Speaking to my soul right now.
That was that moment when I realized like, oh, I would need to really hard work on my aim specifically if I wanted to like go beyond like the level that I'm at currently with the competitive shooter. Is the moment that I decided I was like, I'll just be happy being like kind of good at this thing. I don't think I really care to put in the time that it would require to go further than where I am now. And that's fine.
That is fine. That's fine. It's genuinely fine if you want to feel like that because games are meant to be fun. You're not supposed to get stressed out playing the game. However, I have fury built into my DNA. My soul feeds off of it. And if I'm not better than the person I hate on the other team, I will get so mad at myself for not putting in that time. And that's also fine. I will go for the ego peak every single day of my life, and my team will lose because of it. And I will only have myself to blame, and I will understand why they hate me. But understand that man needed to know that I'm willing to die to make his life worse. And I'm going to do it again. If I see him again, I'm going to do it again. And I won't apologize for it. I mean, I will. I'll be like, sorry, guys, my bad, through that. I don't know what I was thinking. I know what I was thinking. I'll lie to you in that regard, but I will know it's my fault. Yeah. And that's probably the best possible outcome you can get for losing the ego piece. But it's going to happen every single time. Every time.
On that note, Netties, this is month 8 of us asking to bring teabagging to Marvel Rivals.
No, don't. I'm an Iron Man player when I play DPS. I like having the only teabagging character in the game. Please and thank you. Yes.
Yeah, that's... Nah, give us the teabag.
Okay. I don't know if you know this, Twobold, but Florida Man over here is a medical doctor, a
Okay.
man of science, and
He's high
he
ranked
has
in
a little.
life.
He's high ranked in life, and we have
apparently.
I was wondering what the MD stood for at the end of your name. I'm like, he might be a
That
doctor,
is-
but he's also from Florida, so I mean, he could just take care of like I don't know mosquitoes or something. I don't really whatever Florida has at this point.
Yep.
But we
lots
have
of
we have a
things.
little segment where we like to have our neighborhood doctor give medical advice to the community. So let's turn it over to Florida Man MD.
All right, y'all. I'll keep this kind of brief, but we actually talked about a lot of the things on this section today. But here it goes. All right, everyone. Are you being worn out from being slapped around by Venom's 19 inches? Do you finally understand why Eddie Brock sat in church praying for Spider-Man's downfall? Well, if so, then you will like today's Doctor's Corner, where I'm going to prescribe some tips for how to deal with dive effectively. Disclaimer, as we have talked about, I am not a crazy high-ranked player. I am a potato who climbed to GM by playing several, hours worth of gaming. So some of these tips may be useful, some of them take with a grain of salt, but I hope they will all help you be a little bit less frustrated against the terrifying duo that is Venom and Spider-Man, and the other, many, many dive characters. First, number one most important rule when you're dealing with dive is to remember your other support is your top priority. Support is a duo role, not a solo role. If you are a solo support trying to survive against multiple divers and your team is flaming you, that is your team's fault for not having another healer. So please remember to always look for your other healer when you have one. They're the most important person to keep alive 90% of the time. The only exception would be maybe if a DPS has a game-winning ult like Star-Lord or Storm or something and the enemy team has no support ults. But for the most part, in any rank, probably I would argue, maybe in Celestial you can tell me how true this is or not, Twobold, but in GM or lower, for sure, if you have a choice between saving someone and saving your fellow support, you save your fellow support every single time.
I wouldn't tell you. I'm the one hurting the supports. I've never supported.
All right.
One of the three supports can look after the other two supports getting dove. All right, they're on their own. I hate them. I will destroy the supports as much as I can. If you're on the support side, if you're getting dove by Venom and Spider-Man, the best thing you can do is have one of your big counter buttons ready. You dedicate one guy, be like, hey man, I know those two guys on the enemy team. That's Venom and that's Spider-Man over there. They're going to kill us. That's their whole thing. So you, look at me, you, Loki, or you, Adam, here's what's going to happen. When they dive us, you're going to hit the invulnerability button, and that's your job. As we're only using it for that. If we lose anything else, it's my fault. All right? Yep. But you need to stop it when Venom hits me with 400 pounds of just goo and Spider-Man hits me with 1,400 punches in 15 seconds. All right? We'll support each other. All right? We'll get through this.
Yes, exactly. You have to coordinate with your other support, even if you're not in voice, even if you just know where they are, stand position near them to where you're in line of sight of each other. The point is you have to coordinate with your other support. Surviving dive, as we mentioned earlier, takes, I would argue, more coordination than getting dove on. So please look out for your fellow support. They are your only hope. Obi-Wan Kenobi, thank you.
Yep.
Next, real quick, brief tips to survive the dive. Think about the 3 different things that divers want to do in this order, and that will help you kind of know what a dive wants to do and therefore how to deal with it. Number 1, the setup phase. Every dive character, no matter which one they are, wants to get into a position while their team is also shooting at you that they can then dive the back line or dive their target while the enemy is being pressured and distracted by the rest of the team. So they need to get into a spot where they can do that from. It'll look different for every character, but in general, you're looking for a high ground, a flank, somewhere that is off of the main angle camera that everyone is staring.
You muted yourself.
Yeah.
Rest of the
keys. Excuse me, y'all. Yeah. So I rested my wrist on the keyboard, and this is what happens. I'll just get my carpal tunnel. Anyhow, so to survive that, like I said, basically you just look for the angles, constantly look and listen, always be aware of where the divers could be coming from once you know the enemy has dive. For the first fight, a little bit tough. For the rest of the fights, okay, when you're reloading or doing something that's not actively supporting another teammate or shooting, always constantly be looking, and 24/7, 365 be listening for cues that will tell you where the dive is coming from. If you notice them before they can be in their engagement phase and shooting you, you can poke them out and damage them before they even go in, which is absolute hell for Spider-Mans in particular because they fold over like a piece of paper if you shoot them before they go at you.
True.
Next, the engage phase. So this is when the dive happens. They're burning every single cooldown, every ability to try and kill you. What you do for this depends basically on your character, but essentially you look at your fellow support and hopefully have them look at you and heal each other. If you have the big, like, F you, I live buttons, such as Loki or Adam, use those if you have them, if you need to. If you don't need to, try and save them because they can be used more impactfully elsewhere, but I digress. The big point here is you're using your kit's resources to try and counter their kit's resources. If you do that better than them, you will hopefully live the dive. If you don't, you will probably die. But always when you die, think back to what you could have done differently or how you could have used your abilities or stood in a better spot to survive. Number 3, the disengage phase. Every diver, after they've burned your cooldowns, needs to get out. And so the way you deal with this is you ping them, you shoot them if you have the resources and are safe to do so. For me, playing Invisible Woman, my favorite thing is to use my pull on a Spider-Man or a Venom that's trying to dive out with low HP. It's really hard to hit because they fly at Mach 3, but if you do hit it, you will yoink them back into your team, and it is a guaranteed kill almost every single time. I love it. It gives me so much joy and pleasure. But anyhow, those are the 3 sort of phases to dive: the setup, the engage, and the disengage. You think about what the dive wants to do, that'll tell you exactly how to go about, stopping them from doing that. So like I said, number one most important tip.
For against people that are good at dive, that's not just one Venom and one Spidey. You're gonna die. It's gonna happen.
Yes.
Don't get mad about it. Like
Yes,
the best thing you can
I
do
do.
is just position yourself better, which is namely in a place where it's disadvantageous for them to get to, which is usually further back and
Yes.
with other people ready to help you. If you have a thing, that's the best tank you can have to keep you alive during a dive, because he can hit his E to go to you, so you take less damage, and then make it so Venom and Spidey can't use escape abilities with Earthbound.
Yes.
The other best thing you can have, unironically, is a Mr. Fantastic.
Yep.
He makes it so awful all the time because he's an awful person that shields them and then turns into a vanilla wafer or something and just is a giant square, and you can't hurt him, and people can get behind him, and he's awful, and I hate him a lot.
Yep.
This Mr. Fantastic slander. The man was unjustly nerfed.
Right.
Listen,
Not deserved.
that guy is just the wonkiest damn character in the game. I dislike him very much.
Everyone's
But-
just jealous that he gets Sue Storm. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
that's
can
good.
he can have Sue Storm. At this point, I just want him out of my game. All right, you just go hang out with your wife, brother. Just stop grappling on to the people that I'm trying to fight. Okay, surprised your wife doesn't have an issue with it.
Yeah,
All
so that's
right.
it. Those are the big tips for how to survive dive. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Twobold, for adding some in there. So back to the episode.
I'll help where I
Okay.
can.
Yeah.
We have something new that we kind of wanted to try this episode. It's like because like there's this this thought amongst like the gaming community overall that most opinions that are circulated are only reflective of the high end like skill based people's experience. So we wanted to have our own little segment where we bring in people on our own community and have them pre-record a session before the episode that we react to, that we want to call the heavy metal ranks complaints, so that they can voice their own concerns and have us react to it. So if you could, Vance.
Heavy metal. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Heavy Metal with Vance Helsing. I don't have a tagline for this yet because this is the first time I'm doing this. But we have our first guest member who has decided to throw himself into the fray. Everyone, please welcome Chance. Chance, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How about you?
Oh, I'm living the dream, living the Marvel Rivals dream. So we'll go ahead and get started with this. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. Like how old you are, or what your game history is.
I'm 27 from South Georgia. I've always played Call of Duty my whole life with a little bit of Need for Speed sprinkled in, but cheaters got really bad in Call of Duty, so I switched to Rivals beginning of the year, and I have not played another game since.
Okay, so it's interesting that you bring up Call of Duty, because I also grew up playing Call of Duty, like when Call of Duty 4 came out, like when multiplayer first started getting big. So I was real big into that. What was like so? Obviously, going from Call of Duty, it's a first-person game. What about Rivals drew you into it?
Just everybody was talking about it, and I was like, man, I don't know. Like, I like the Marvel movies, but I'm not sure if I'd be into it. And I gave it a try, and like immediately that night, I was like, oh god, I'm hooked.
That seems to be how everybody's taken to it. What difficulties have you experienced, like going from a first-person shooter to a third-person combat game? And that's a lot more, because like Call of Duty it's a lot of the X-axis, like there's not really a lot of vertical movement around,
Right.
but with Marvel Rivals, there's obviously a lot of extra movement. So, did you have any difficulty adjusting to that or anything?
Yeah, and still do, to be honest. In Call of Duty, I was always the run and gun guy, so it's really hard for me not to just go straight to the back lines, and I'm having to remember to get good positioning and stuff. And I play Moon Knight a lot, so I find myself sometimes just sitting on the middle of the objective getting destroyed. And
Yeah, because
Probably
nobody
correct
knows how to
that.
shoot an Ankh.
yeah.
This is your immediate tip to all the listeners: shoot the Ankhs, please. Okay, so in Marvel Rivals, there's obviously some power balancing issues that I think everyone's aware of. But actually, let me preface that. What rank are you in comp?
Silver 2 or 3.
Okay, all right. Hey, that's respectable. That's still higher than 50% of the player base. So
For sure. And I don't play competitive that much because all my squad runs on PlayStation. So
gotcha. Okay. But so in your mind, who do you think is the most problem character in Rivals right now?
I mean, I gotta side with Conrad here. I feel like 1 out of every 10 games leads with me and 2 or 3 others like running out of the spawn and immediately getting just 2-tapped.
By the good old Hella.
Bucky.
Oh, Bucky, you're right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a very overtuned character, to say the least.
Yeah.
Okay, so who do you think is the weakest character? Who do you think needs the most love and buffs?
I hadn't played too many really. I really couldn't tell you.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, everybody's got their niche. I mean, I'm the Hawkeye main, but you ask me about any other character, and I'm pretty ill informed.
Yeah.
I get all my news from Conrad and the guys.
Pretty much same.
And then, so what? How did you find us? Actually, how did you find the podcast, and how are you enjoying the show and all that?
I love it. I normally just listen to podcasts at work, and one day I was like, man, I really want to go home and play the game, but the best thing that I could do was find a podcast about it. So I looked it up, and I saw the other one where Conrad was a guest the other day.
The Rivals Assemble. Shout out to those guys.
Yeah. And I don't know, just for some reason, looking at it, like the titles of the episodes, I just wasn't vibing with it. And then I saw you guys, and I was like, hey, let me start here. And I listened to like 5 or 6. Every one y'all had released, I listened to that day.
Wow.
And ever since, I've been listening to them every time they drop.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We definitely appreciate this community that we're starting to build. So before I let you go here, is there any other message that you want the community to hear? From the lower rank of things, because we always hear from the streamers, the big top dogs in the gaming industry. What do you want other players in Marvel Rivals to know?
Don't sleep on Jeff, man. I see everybody saying that he's a horrible healer, but I feel like I fry with Jeff.
All right, well, you guys all heard it here from the Silver 2 Chance. Don't sleep on Jeff. I personally agree. I think Jeff is very much slept on. He is obviously Marvel Rivals' favorite character. So, Chance, thank you so much for your time, and let's send it back to the boys.
Yeah, thank y'all for having me on.
So
I'm just saying, Chance has very good taste and opinions.
Look, just because he sided with you for the Bucky
Right.
argument.
no,
He's not wrong.
I love
He's not wrong.
I love that, man. I forgot he said something at the very start about like the transition when he was going from Call of Duty to Rivals, and liking Marvel but not really being sure about the game. That's to me been like the coolest thing about and most unexpected is like how popular Rivals became so quickly. Not just necessarily because of the Marvel IP, but because people just genuinely like the game itself. And that was so surprising to me, because Overwatch, I felt like for a while was kind of a niche thing that not the wider gaming community and the wider not even just the wider gaming community, but like the wider like cultural community, like didn't really like know that much. Even within the gaming community, it was a little bit niche for a little while, except for in the very beginning when it like popped off Game of the Year, like all that stuff. But like, I mean, time will tell. But I'm like, it's crazy to me and like really cool that like Rivals, I feel like helped save the genre, and I'm hoping that that feeds back into Overwatch, and we just get like a bunch more cakes, like
Yeah.
like.
Oh,
It
I
would be
actually-
pretty cool. It
I
would
heard
be pretty cool.
I heard rumors that DC was actually like trying to work on doing the same type of thing as Rivals, but
Really?
do it with DC characters. I don't
What a
remember where I
classic
heard it
DC
from.
thing to
but
do.
yeah,
Yeah.
just copy what Marvel does. Yeah.
Yeah, copy what Marvel does, but fail at it. Yeah.
Dang.
Ooh.
I think the biggest
Michael
difference between
Vincent.
Marvel and DC would be the fact that I don't know how the Flash is going to get into this game.
Oh
I
my
feel
God.
like that would be pretty annoying.
Man.
Right.
Oh,
Because then,
Well, there.
You
Yeah.
can get Quicksilver.
Yeah, Quicksilver, Speed, Makari. There's several
I know.
speedsters in the Marvel.
yeah, but I mean,
Marvel
the
universe.
Flash is the fastest, so I
Yes.
mean, it doesn't really matter. Like in Marvel Rivals, you could see Quicksilver getting punched. Like that's a thing that I could reasonably
Yeah.
happen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In DC, I still don't understand how the Flash gets hurt. It doesn't make any sense to me. He
Well-
goes faster than fast. He's like the concept of speed doesn't apply to him the way we know it. He goes faster than you can go fast. It doesn't make sense. So DC
Well,
is
I will-
basically a bunch of gods trying to be human, whereas Marvel's a bunch of humans
Yeah.
trying to become gods. So
Yep.
whatever,
It's
man.
fair. It's fair.
It's going to be an interesting concept.
Yeah. It would be really interesting.
We'll see, man. I will say about the Flash real quick because that was brought up. If anybody watched the CW TV show, the Flash was always the fastest man alive, as he said at the beginning of every episode, until the next season when there was someone faster every time.
Dude, don't even get me started on CW shows and how they butchered characters, man. Like every
God,
every
please
first
talk to me
season
more.
had the best possible way of it going, where it's just like, yeah, this is entertaining. I've enjoyed most of this, and the second season is always just like, how did you get so much worse
Yeah.
every
yeah.
single time?
Yep.
I still hold that the Arrow was the best first season of like a superhero
Oh
show.
my god, it was
Yeah.
so good.
It was
That
really good.
So good. Oh.
The second
def-
season was watchable.
It
It was watchable. That's all I'm gonna say. It was watchable, but it was nowhere near the first season. And I'm just like, maybe it's just cooler that he killed people with those arrows. Maybe I just like seeing arrows do arrow things.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed?
I definitely watched all of the seasons of The Arrow, and no, it definitely like, I stuck with it for the plot, and by plot I mean I forget his name, Stephen Amell or something. Amell hit the main actor,
character.
shirtless.
Yeah,
Yes,
cool
I'm
dude.
sorry. That's why I stuck with it. Excuse me. Like, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Like,
Listen, you don't have to be
Yeah.
attracted to men to watch him do that salmon ladder shit and be like, wow,
Oh my-
that is the coolest thing I've ever.
What a-
I understand why we put this
Thank
in every
you.
episode. Like, look at that guy go. He's
Yeah.
up and down. He's doing pull-ups and jumping with
It
them.
was
That's
insane.
sick.
Yeah.
I
That
think
pull-up bar is crazy.
I think what I hated the most about the Arrow show was how many seasons it took them to escape that freaking island.
I can tell you,
Oh.
stopped watching after the second season. I'm like, I'm good. That was it.
It was good, yeah.
Felicity's in the next one. I'm done. Good. See ya. See you
Dude,
around.
CW does butcher shows though. Like I mean, that being said, like I loved The 100. Like I know we're veering off, but I had to gush about that show. Like if you haven't seen The 100 or read any of the books, like please read it or watch the show. It's actually really good. They don't butcher it really hard until the very, very last season, but that's like a lot of TV shows. That's not really just CW. So they did do a pretty good job with that one, even though I think it fell off pretty hard. But it's a great show if you like post-apocalyptic, like Lord of the Flies-esque like drama series.
Ugh,
So
Yes.
Flies.
yeah.
I hate that book.
Yes. What? Yeah, you know what? We can't. We gotta.
We
gotta
get
Whoa.
sidetracked.
We gotta keep going. It was-
There's a lot of
God.
tangent here I could easily
Okay.
grab onto, but I'm just
Oh,
gonna,
same.
just gonna
I,
let it go.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I think we all have the same kind of thought processes going on, but we have been running long, so we're probably gonna call it here pretty soon. So the last things I'd like to do is plug everything and then end on Twobold plugging himself, if that sounds good to
Yes.
everybody else.
Sure.
All right. So
There's a joke
I'll
in there
take-
somewhere, but never mind.
yeah,
it's fine.
probably. Let me take it to the heater work.
The Heater Work, catch me on the Marvel Rivals Review YouTube and Twitch. All right.
Nice. Florida man.
You can attempt to catch me on all of my socials at FloridaManMD, but I do not particularly stream or do much. So the best way to find me if you want to interact with me is just to come hang out in the Marvel Rivals Review Discord, because that's where I just interact with community members. That's to me the most fun. So find me there. Don't look for me on videos because I probably won't become a content creator soon.
Link is for the Discord in the description.
Yes.
And Vance Helsing.
And I am Vance Helsing Gaming. I have a YouTube channel. I haven't uploaded to it in 2 years, but I am running the Marvel Rivals review podcast on Twitch at twitch.tv/Marvel Rivals Review. You can catch me there or send me messages in the Discord.
And I am Conrad Guther. You can always catch me mad at video games at twitch.tv/Conrad Guther. Just a reminder, next week, because we're not doing an episode, we'd like to do community games. So join the Discord, come and play with us if you want to. We'd like to test out this scrimming bot we have. That'd be pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
Links in the description below. Twobold, please.
Yes.
I'm Twobold. You can catch me on twitch.tv/Twobold. On my Twitter, Twobold_, because some European company that doesn't post anymore 5 years ago took Twobold and won't let me have it.
Dang.
And Twitter, and YouTube. Look up Twobold. I'm the little Gengar guy. It was nice meeting all of you guys. It was a very fun podcast. Wish you best of luck in the future.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Coming on. Yeah.
If you like dudes raging at video games, this is a great podcast for me to be on as well. So that was a lot of fun.
That's my favorite thing to do.
Literally all of us. Yeah.
Pretty cool group, guys. Pretty cool group. Enjoyed hanging out with y'all. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
You
You
too.
too.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
All right, links
anytime.
in the
Peace out.
description, everybody.
Peace.